Hello and welcome to the Hybrid and Online Classes Delivery Techniques course. My name is Elias Mareb.
And my name is Charles Pluta. In this module, we'll talk about how to use different presentation techniques.
That's right, Charles. We'll cover some different presentation methods and when and how to use them.
So that's actually the first thing that you should know, just in general to be aware of and how to use different presentation methods or techniques to attract and manage different audiences. You should never use just lecture materials alone to deliver the content to your audiences. It's bad enough face-to-face, and it's even worse for the remote audience.
People can get very bored and are easily distracted, especially with smartphones in everyone's pocket, The challenge is to keep your audience focused and connected with you, and also the content. Let me share a tip that I found to work splendidly, especially when delivering technical content. Let's say you want to teach about a certain product or feature, and instead of explaining the details and the technology behind it, first demo the actual solution. Just show how it works and what it can do, and just generate that wow moment, from your audience. I guarantee you that that's more likely for your audience to be either impressed or extremely interested in getting to know how you did it and how does it work. Now that you have their attention, it's time to start breaking it down and explaining all the pieces and components.
A demo can do wonders to help you translate any slides or lecture material that you've used into the actual practical application for the topic. The time that you spend during the demo also gives you the opportunity to share some of your stories or real-world experiences with your audiences. Depending on the amount of time that you have, you can also take time during that demo to show other features and aspects of what you're demonstrating to show its full capabilities. Elias, how can you use technology to help you present content in different ways?
Different pieces of technology give you ways to connect and present content to a remote audience. But you want to make sure that you're using the right technology for the job. Obviously, just using a plain whiteboard and markers is great for, a traditional face-to-face audience. But without a well-positioned camera, it is really pointless for the remote audience. So, a great solution is to use touch devices. If you use a tablet or the facility that you're presenting at has a digital whiteboard, you can share what you're drawing and or writing immediately with both audiences.
That's exactly right. The power of using a surface device to draw just as you would on a whiteboard, and then have that simultaneously projected locally in the room for the face-to-face audience, and then you screencast that to your remote audience, is a great and powerful tool. The remote audiences will definitely appreciate this, and you don't want to leave them out by using a bad tool. Plus, if you're presenting in a larger room for the face-to-face audience, the people in the back of the room could even join the screencast so that they can easily see the drawing on their device. Just because it's meant for a remote and online tool doesn't mean that it's actually limited to the remote audience.
And last, but definitely not least, I think that one of the biggest things that will influence your delivery and the satisfaction of your audience is how good of a storyteller you are. People absolutely hate instructors that just stand up and read slides. I mean, they can read the slides themselves, right? So don't be that person. Don't be afraid to share your real-world experience. Tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly. And why not the really, really ugly? They will definitely appreciate, 1, your honesty, and 2, the lessons that you've learned. You gotta remember, experience doesn't have a price.
When you're telling a story, the more personal it is, generally the better. You have an audience in part because they want to hear what you say. If you have a way to tie in your presentation with how you've used the technology or the topic that you're presenting on, the better the audience will receive the story. Storytelling during a presentation is no different than a story in a book. You should create a mystery, give them suspense, or explain how it all went wrong with a comedy. It can follow the same structure too. You should have a beginning, a middle, and it in with some type of climax and positive resolution.
Properly selected and told stories can make a point in ways that other forms of communication simply cannot. Stories allow the listener to learn vicariously and discover lessons seemingly on their own. Don't tell stories just because they're powerful, but because they help you make an important point. It's even better if you can show them, not just tell them. Practice the story, reuse it, and fine-tune it. Tell the truth and create an experience. How you do that can depend on the story or the focus of the presentation. But always remember, never exaggerate and always have fun with it.
Showing the audience is one of the best ways of telling a story. Some of the most successful and popular presentations use what's called a star moment. STAR stands for something they'll always remember. If you're trying to convey the importance of something in your presentation, build up to it, and then have a big reveal of what that important component is. That could be a statistic, a solution to a problem, or the realization that a problem exists. This should be the one big thing that you want the audience to take away from your story. So I think we've covered some of the best practices to use and be aware of so that you can master different presentation techniques. Thanks for watching this video, and we hope that you enjoy the other videos in this course.